Piecing together facts about the Book of Mormon geology, archaeology, and Mexican history is almost like a puzzle, putting together small pieces to reveal a larger, clearer picture. In this case, a picture that is over 4,500 years old. One of the most significant pieces of that puzzle was revealed in 1941. In July of that year, at a roundtable conference sponsored by the Mexican Society of Anthropology, being held in Mexico City, American Matthew Sterling, along with two Mexican colleagues, Miguel Covarrubias and Alfonso Caso, presented documented evidence of a group of people they called the Olmecs. This culture settled along the Gulf Coast of Mexico and dated from 2500 to 300 BC. The significance of this new information was staggering. Here is a vast civilization predating the Mayans, long thought to be the oldest civilization in Mexico. Archaeological sites representing the height of the culture, 1500 BC to 300 BC, are located in the Mexican states of Veracruz and Tabasco. Archaeological sites showed a people with planned ceremonial centers and buildings oriented toward magnetic north, very large, high-quality monuments sculpted in stone. They had an organized religious society with ceremonial rituals and a concept of life after death, an organized calendar and language system engraved on stone, and an organized social and governmental structure. They had established commercial routes demonstrating Olmec influence outside their immediate heartland. Their empire stretched as far west as Acapulco and as far south as El Salvador, the state of Oaxaca, and the coast of Guatemala. This mother culture of all the Americas was first mentioned in a history of Mexico written in 1600 by the Mexican historian Fernando de Alva Ixtlilxochitl. Ixtlilxochitl's history tells of a people who were giants and came to Mexico having first crossed many lands and waters, from the great tower where the languages became confounded, except their own. Who were these people? The correlation between the Olmecs and the Jaredites of the Book of Mormon is compelling. Almost 6 centuries after the last Jaredite battle, as the Nephite prophet Moroni was abridging the 24 gold plates, he gave us valuable information concerning the Jaredites, their culture, where they lived, and what eventually happened to them. Ether chapter 1, verse 33, tells us they came from the great tower where the languages became confounded, except for Jared and his family. In Ether chapter 10, verses 20 through 21, they built a city on the narrow neck of land, by the place where the sea divides the land. They preserved the land southward for a wilderness to get game, and the land northward was covered with inhabitants. In the same chapter, verses 22 through 28, mentions that the Jaredites were industrious, with established trade routes. They mined and worked with all types of metals, made fine cloth, agricultural tools for farming, and working with animals. They made weapons of war and were greatly skilled craftsmen.
In this land called New Spain, Mexico, there were giants, as demonstrated by their bones that had been discovered in many areas. The ancient Tolteca record keepers called them Kinametzin.
Many artifacts from several Olmec archaeological sites show evidence of this great conflict. Michael Cole, Harvard graduate and recognized authority on the Olmec culture, states, "There is no evidence of an outside invasion. The amount of pent-up hatred and fury represented by this enormous act of destruction must have been awesome, indeed. These monuments are very large, and basalt is a very hard stone. Wherever possible, heads were smashed from bodies, altars were smashed to pieces, and strange dimpled depressions and slots were cut into colossal heads."
In the Book of Mormon and the Book of Ether concerned with the Jaredites in chapters 1 and 10, there is a mention of a particular king by the name of Kish.
And it came to pass that Coram did that which was good in the sight of the Lord all his days, and he begat many sons and daughters. And after he had seen many days, he did pass away, even like unto the rest of the earth. And Kish reigned in his stead. And it came to pass that Kish passed away also, and Lib reigned in his stead.
It would be interesting to see if we have evidence of this king in archaeology. Fortunately, we do have his name in Maya hieroglyphics from the archaeological site of Palenque in the state of Chiapas, southern Mexico. In the Tablet of the Cross from this site, it gives the name of the king, it gives his birth date as March 8th, 993 BC, his accession to the throne in March 25th, 967 BC. The glyphs at the bottom of this particular column of writing says that he was the divine ancestor of the Palenque line of kings.